What's up, guys? Welcome to Nolan Talks. There's been some news with LSU football today. It's December 24th. That means it's Christmas Eve, and I'm kind of just making a quick little audio, just kind of updating you guys on what's going on with LSU football. There's some good news, and there's some other news that can be good, can be bad. But straight from the top, Liam Shanahan, the starting center for LSU this past season, the transfer from Harvard, announced via Twitter that he's returning to LSU for another season. I believe this will be like his sixth season in college. I think he graduated high school in 2016, so he's a redshirt freshman. So, yeah, probably like his sixth season. So this will be, the NCAA is granting everyone another year of eligibility, so this will be his last season of football. But I'm so glad he's coming back. I think he's one of the players who needed to come back to school. He's had an up and down season for LSU. When he came into LSU, he had a lot of hype. He was like an All-American at Harvard, but that's Harvard. It's a lot different from the SEC. The level of competition is honestly doesn't even match up. But he's coming back for his sixth year. And he's a guy who definitely needed to come back. I mean, beginning in the season, you could tell like the physicality of the SEC. He kind of was outmatched. And, he's a big guy. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. But I think he's really got to, if he wants to play in the NFL and, maybe be like a third-round pick, he's got to get in that weight room and get stronger, because this past season, he struggled when it comes to that run blocking. I mean, you watch him going against Auburn, and he was getting mauled all game. I mean, when he snaps the ball, he's already 2 yards in the backfield, and that's just due to the strength. I mean, Auburn had a good D-line, and those boys are some beasts in Auburn, and just like other teams we played this season, up front they're just, when you play an SEC schedule, you're gonna go against good players. Like, it doesn't really matter what team it is, except Vanderbilt, but you're going to go against good players on that defensive line, and they're going to all be strong, fast, very athletic. And Liam Shanahan, he did struggle, and I'm sure he would admit to that. Like, he did struggle. So having him come back is going to be great. It's more experience. He'll be a leader on that offensive line. He's got to get in the weight room, got to get stronger, got to get a little bit more, quicker off the ball, handling those speed rushers, picking up blitzes with the linebackers and whatnot. He's got to get stronger, though. That's his number one priority this offseason, is get stronger, be able to handle the physicality of the SEC for another season. And I think that's a great addition, or I guess keep, to the LSU football team on offense next season. There's two more guys who are thinking about leaving. That's Ed Ingram and Austin Deculus. I'd be kind of shocked if Ed Ingram left. I really would. I think it'd be kind of a poor decision on his end. He's played a lot of football for LSU. He had a great game against South Carolina when he came back, but he's kind of had an up and down season as well. Well, the whole offensive line did, but he's kind of had an up and down season, and I think that he definitely needs to return as well. He needs to be, stay healthy, get in better shape. He'd be the starting guard, play a full season. I feel like he's always kind of hurt, or something goes wrong, suspended. He's kind of up and down, like when it comes to being on the playing field. But he's probably the second most experienced offensive lineman for LSU this past season. So I would like to see him come back. I mean, you never know with these kids when it comes to going to the NFL and whatnot. Their situation outside of football, if they need the money or whatnot. But I think Ed Ingram's a guy who would benefit from another year in college, another year getting stronger, more coaching and whatnot. I think he's a guy who shouldn't really think twice when it comes to the NFL. But then again, you never know. This happens at LSU all the time. There's players who definitely shouldn't go to the NFL, and they go to the NFL. And there's times where it works out, like guys like Trey Turner, Daniil Hunter. I remember when they left they left college a year too early. I was like, no, like that's kind of a bad decision. I don't really think that it's going to work out, but it turns out it works out great. Those guys are Pro Bowlers, all pros, make a lot of money in the NFL, so it works out. But a guy like Ed Ingram, I think he just benefit for another year at school. And Austin Deculus, he's one where he's probably the one guy on our offense besides like Terrace Marshall and and Jamar Chase, who I think they should just go. Like, they should just go to the NFL. They're ready for the NFL now. But a guy like Austin Deculus, I want him to stay, like, no doubt. But I mean, he's been a 2-year starter, and I think his sophomore season, like, he played like 13, he played in almost every game, and his freshman year he played in almost every game too. So he's been a starter for LSU for a lot of games. He's our most experienced offensive lineman. I would be kind of shocked if he did stay, honestly, but I think he's going to go to the NFL. I personally would like to see him come back and lose some weight, and I don't want to like fat shame anyone or tell someone to lose some weight, but he plays tackle, and going against those speed rushers of the SEC and in the NFL, even in the NFL, they're going to be a lot faster than SEC. But you watch him against Florida, you watch him against Alabama, Auburn. He kind of gets burned off the edges. He's kind of got the body of a guard, but we put him on a tackle. I think he'd be a better guard than a tackle. Honestly, he's got that big, like the stout, stomach area. Like, he's got like a big chest and whatnot. So I think he'd be a better guard than he would be a tackle, but he's one of those guys who has so much experience. We need him out at that tackle position, which I understand, but I think he's a guy who's going to go to the NFL. I mean, he's already graduated. No doubt I'd love to see him come back, but he'll probably, I don't know if he can improve his draft stock that much. If he were to come back, he could probably show he's a little versatile if we were to move him to guard, which I think he'd be better at the guard position. But I think he's going to be gone. He graduated, like I said. I think he's going to be gone, but no doubt we'd love to have him back. We wish him nothing but the best, and I'm sure he'll have a decision here pretty soon. But as far as the rest of the offensive line, I mean, everyone's going to return, which is great. Chase and Hines will be back. Hopefully he gets a little bit better. He kind of had a rough year. I'm still waiting on the guy, Cordell Thomas, most hyped Louisiana offensive lineman since like 10 years, Lyle Collins. So hope to see, him get healthy, get in shape, and see the playing field for get some playing time at LSU. So he's another guy who I'm kind of interested in seeing how this offseason works out with them. There's also some smoke with the defensive coordinator hires. Apparently on Twitter, I don't know if these sources are confirmed or whatnot, but I'm seeing stuff on Twitter, seeing stuff on Tiger droppings. Obviously that stuff isn't written in stone. It's probably just rumors and whatnot, but people are saying that Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator out of Cincinnati, is not interested in LSU. He's not a candidate anymore. And that kind of surprises me a little bit. I mean, who knows if that's true or not, but just looking at it from his career, like, a coach like that, I know he's from Ohio. I think he went to Ohio State, and he's been at Cincinnati for 4 years. It's like, what do you have left to prove at Cincinnati? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get a big-time coaching job as a defense coordinator at Cincinnati. You could get I talked about this in my last audio. You could get a big-time coaching job as a defense coordinator in the SEC, especially at a school like LSU, no doubt. And he's a young coach, and I really don't, unless the money's not right, which I get that. He's a guy, he's 34 years old, 33 years old. I've seen his Twitter before. He's got a bunch of kids. Like, I get that. If the money's not right, don't make the jump. And who knows if LSU's got the money to pay him. But as far as, like, if you're comfortable at Cincinnati, I mean, I don't think that's the best move for you as a coach, as your brand, because at LSU, you'll get a lot more exposure, you know what I'm saying, to that next level of coaching and to even being a head coach one day, which he probably will be. But I hope that the rumors aren't true that he's no longer a candidate. I think he'd be a great fit at LSU, and I really hope those rumors aren't true. And I'm sure we'll find out more sometime probably after the new year and whatnot. But another thing I've been seeing a lot is Derek Mason is probably the favorite to be the defense coordinator at LSU next season. And I looked this up because I was kind of curious about how long he was the head coach at Vanderbilt. He was there from 2014 to 2020. His record wasn't great. I mean, he had a few years where they were always below 500, but I think he made 2 bowls in his tenure at Vanderbilt, which is okay. But I mean, at Vanderbilt, you're not really expected to win much, but I mean, he didn't really have players and whatnot, but I mean, he confirmed Wednesday night that there have been conversations between him and LSU. He talked about how LSU is a great program. They have some of the best talent in the country, which is true. He respects Coach Orgeron a lot. I think he's a guy Coach Orgeron's going to hire. I think he's probably the favorite as a defensive coordinator for LSU. I hope that Coach O is kind of open with his options as far as when it comes to the hiring process. I hope he kind of looks at Marcus Freeman, looks at, I've seen people tweet out the Ryan Nielsen. I think he's a D-line coach for the Saints or something like that. Derek Mason. I just hope he looks at a bunch of options rather than this past season where he just talked to Bo and he said, "Okay, you're my guy," and hired him and didn't really look at anyone else, which is kind of bad to do. You gotta have options and whatnot. So I really hope he kind of just is open to the process of looking at multiple candidates for the defensive coordinator position, because it can make or break his his job too, Coach O's job. So that's going to be important. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Merry Christmas. Tonight's Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Hope you guys are all staying safe. Hope you guys are all doing well, and love LSU, man. And thanks for listening, guys.